Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review for the 24th of April, 1982. We're moving right along, and hopefully you're enjoying the journey with us. Paul Orndorff starts off the program. Of course, he's been in battles with his old friend Bob Roop, but Larry Higgins is his opponent today, so obviously a bit more of a enhancement talent match here because Higgins really hasn't done a heck of a lot in the area. But anyway, Orndorff manages to keep things pretty simple, pretty basic. Goes for an inside cradle pretty early, tries to get an advantage and get some ride time with a hammerlock, and keep things really basic, simple, and down on the mat where he can. Again, Orndorff goes back to it. Amazing to me how little Orndorff brawls when he's in Mid-South versus him being much more of a brawler, except when he's in there with certain guys in the WWF. Interesting that the styles change. Big drop kick by Orndorff. I don't remember him doing terribly too many of those in the WWF either. Maybe I'm misremembering, but his WCW stuff was back towards being athletically driven. Anyway, big body slam and a knee drop by Orndorff. Orndorff then gets, I believe it is a power slam that gives him a momentary finish. Yeah, he almost drops Higgins there. It doesn't exactly go very well for those two gentlemen to get through that. But anyway, Orndorff gets a victory, and on he goes in his continued, I guess, pursuit of revenge against Bob Roop for the betrayal. Roop is a guy who you really can't trust, I guess, at least not in this point in the Mid-South story. Anyway, Iron Mike Sharp and Ron Cheatham. Sharp has been pretty big deal here in 1982. Odd for folks who only know Mike Sharp as an enhancement talent in the late 80s WWF. But I'm learning more about Mike Sharp and learning that I actually like his work when he's allowed to do so in a more meaningful way. Anyway, sets his opponent on the top rope. Cheatham manages to duck down, tries to get out of harm's way as quick as possible. Doesn't exactly get what he wants out of that. Pull up and crank right back down on the arm by Sharp. Sharp manages to keep things as simple, or tries to keep things as simple as he can. Stays on the arm for the good duration of the match, and clothesline ducked and missed. Drop kick by Sharp, don't see that very often. And kind of going around and around in circles. And then the full body scissors. Sharp manages to bring the guy up and down. Kind of hits the butt bump kind of deal. And ultimately, several shots and Irish whips attempted here. And the big bear hug by his adversary. And then the backbreaker. Sharp gets a victory. Rare match up next as the ladies are here. I don't know that I see them in Mid-South very often. Maybe they're in for a week or two around the house show circuit. But Wendy Richter, for future WWF Women's Champion, against Velvet McIntyre, challenger for Fabulous Moolah at WrestleMania 2, are here. Unfortunately, certainly not treated with the same level of respect they are today. I'm not sure that anybody would be terribly surprised by that, but it still makes me sad nonetheless. You know, kick of the leg, kick off, and very basic stuff. Richter, relatively new, I think 82, 83 is about the time she started, maybe 81, but she's not terribly experienced. Richter takes her down, and McIntyre down, and gets a leg pick. McIntyre comes up and gets a grapevine, kind of tries to sit with it, sit through it, sit out with it, and that continues for a couple of minutes. Richter tries to get to the outside, doesn't get where she wants to get with it, and for several more minutes they kind of go back and forth a little bit there over the leg. The referee having a little bit of difficulty keeping the ladies tied up, and actually referee gets tied up in their spots, so to speak. I believe it's a cross-body attempt that the referee actually gets rolling around with the women. Like I said, treated like a comedy act more than a serious deal. and the referee is not happy with being in this. I mean, he's happy to be in the match, but it is what it is. Velvet McIntyre gets the victory at the last minute, pulling out a victory with after using some hair tosses, misses a drop kick. Wendy Richter manages to try to go back and get things going back her way. I remember Moolah pretty well in the U.S. anyway, mainly the primary trainer. Sunset Flip is the way that Richter gets her, or that McIntyre gets her victory. Bob Roop and Tully Blanchard versus Coco Samoa and Buddy Landel is a tag team match that is up next. And, I mean, Roop is still your North American champion. He's trying to get the most he can out of being that champion, and also, I guess, aligning him with Blanchard is kind of a good thing in a way. Samoa and Blanchard have had a TV match before, so fans are familiar with them. Of course, remember, driving house show business, the main focus here in 1982. Roop gets tackled by Samoa, and Roop comes up with more power moves. Samoa not taking a backward step, though. He hits several good forearms and the like there. Blanchard heads to the outside when he's in the ring, complaining of both hair pulls and tight pulls. He's not particularly happy with his position in the match, and that continues throughout. Roop comes back in, cut off by the heels, but not before we see Tully Blanchard get driven back by one of the baby faces, and I think it's Landel, actually, that drives him back. Yeah, Landel drives him back. I think we've seen Tully and Landel here too. Tully always in motion, whether it be backing up or on the offense. You don't see more than about 15 seconds where Tully isn't moving somehow. Coco Samoa staying on Blanchard, actually gets a body slam on Roop as well, who tries to come in and help his partner. Heels bail out to the outside, and a short tag there. That doesn't go very well. And again, we see several shots and the attempted shots thereof. Hard shot, and again, there we go that way. Kind of rolls through. Roop kind of cuts the ring off on Samoa. Samoa, obviously, I guess I'd say least experienced of the bunch, and so he takes the majority of the issues. 1-2 roll up, near fall by Roop. Roop does not get everything he wants to on that, but I guess you'd say a half butt kick and then a leg drop by Roop gets him the victory. 1, 2, 3, and I believe it was Landel that took the pinfall there. We move to Jody Hamilton, the Assassin, in your next matchup. He is, in fact, facing Terry Gibbs. Gibbs, of course, an enhancement talent for the WWF for a number of years. Assassin not here very long, here for a couple of months, maybe maximum. Passing through, probably on his way back to Georgia, because that seems to be where the Assassin spent the majority of his time. Matter of fact, Jody Hamilton running the WCW power plant within about 10 years after this. But anyway, Gibbs gets taken over pretty aggressively in a headlock. Of course, the Assassin, a masked heel. So you got a masked babyface in Mr. Olympia, who is a major force in the area. Then you got a masked heel. The ride time on the headlock and the side headlock and all of that seems to be the majority of the match. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's certainly a slower match than the average Mid-South fan might be used to or comfortable with or happy with. Some choking along the way. Gibbs not really getting much offense during the first several minutes of the contest. And we kind of move into the whole loaded mask spot with the Assassin getting a victory here in really quick order. We move into the main event, which is rather star-studded for this particular time and place. The particular main event is the Samoans in a one-man gang, all managed by Skandor Akbar against JYD, Dick Murdoch, and Mr. Olympia. Six-man tag team action. Rather rare in Mid-South. I don't know that I've seen a six-man tag match to this point, but here it is. And that is a pretty big deal for Mid-South at that point. They've got, about 7-8 minutes full time. And Jim Ross, by the way, is your announcer. He's not really given that many announcers opportunities here, maybe once every few weeks or at most every other week. Bill Watts does the majority of announcing with Boyd Pierce. I think Watts, being the owner and booker of the company, well, booker at least for part of the time, main guy in charge anyway, knows what he wants. Interesting, Roop and Murdoch square off in the early stages. Murdoch kicks Roop right in the mush and takes over on him pretty quickly. Then he's pretty dominant of the North American champion for the next couple of minutes. Akbar not happy with that on the outside. Roop manages to get a body slam in the meantime, in the interim. And then we see a bit of a gut shot. I think actually this is, it looks like more the replay of the match that they had the previous couple of weeks ago, because I don't see or I didn't see, and I'm just writing in my notes. There we are. Yeah, that was actually commentary from the match they had previously. Now here is the finish of, or the little bit, which is about 4 minutes of the six-man match. And Akbar or Watts used to do that, I think, to give guys teasers, women teasers, fans teasers, to not throw away main events, get you to come to the house shows. And I think, everybody says this is a TV business. It doesn't have to be a TV business in 2020. It is a TV business because fans have been conditioned to make it one, not because that's best for business. Guys don't learn to truly work unless they're, guys and ladies, don't learn to truly work unless they're in front of a crowd. No real result for this, because they literally get about 3 minutes. Gang and the Junkyard Dog face off a bit, and those two guys brawl toe-to-toe, punches and the like, and the dog lights up the gang. Gang goes over the top rope and to the floor. The baby faces are happy with that on the outside, obviously. But again, in total, I think there's like 3 minutes of this match in total, and that's what threw me, is the previous match, which had been unfinished. But they closed things without a finish here, and we will move into the month of May right after this.